This episode of Who Flung Poo is brought to you by Ugui Su Poo, Liquid Ass, and Poo Pourri. Okay, not really. Hey, did you like how I just dropped in on you all? Hey everyone, it's Pooh. It's been a bit. Well, I mean, it's been a bit since I actually had something to say about, social media, politics, or anything of the sort. But after so much going on since the last time I decided to make a video that did not involve gaming, a bit's happened. And there's been uh, a couple of issues that have been on my mind for, a couple or if not a few weeks to just recently. And I willed myself to make a video today. And the reason I had to will myself is because for weeks I've been wanting to make some response videos and just did not have the energy or the willpower to do so. Truth of it is, folks, I've been a tired dog ever since the end of August. I will say that since August, I have been on something of an internship, and it has just tired me out. But as I said, I've willed myself to go ahead and make a video. And this video I'm going to try to keep short, so I may not be referencing source material. But the source material can easily be found either through videos that I'm commenting on or my Twitter feed, which can be found at WhoFlungPoo. So let me deal with the first thing. A few weeks ago, and let me preface this also. Two of the people I'll be commenting on first are people that I generally like. One I generally like a one, and the other I like a bit more. The first person I'm dealing with here is Mundane Matt. I guess it was a little over a week ago, maybe 2 weeks. Mundane Matt decided to make a video regarding a young woman who came down with cancer while she was pregnant. And instead of opting to go through chemo to treat the cancer, which would inevitably kill her unborn child, she decided to not go for treatment and carry the child to term. Now, either way, there was a risk to the child. Now, it should be noted that this woman was a fairly religious person, Christian to be more specific. And if you know anything about Christians, especially, maybe more, I don't want to use hardcore, but that's the only word I can think of. As you know how it is with hardcore Christians, they generally tend to be pro-life or anti-abortion. This woman was one such Christian. So she felt that the life of her unborn child was more important than her own life. And, it's kind of hard to find parents that don't feel that way about their children, whether they are in utero or not. This woman felt that way about it. And by the time his video was over with, Mundane Matt pretty much pontificated on how this woman was an idiot for not going under treatment, which would have killed her unborn child. Because the thing of it is, he felt that she had, I think it was 4 other children that she needed to be there to take care of. Never mind that there was a father to take care of the kids. Without knowing the decision process that these parents came or used to come to the conclusion that she was going to forego cancer treatment. One day, Matt just decided that this woman was a fucking idiot for not trying to survive to support her for other kids. And it's really amazing that he basically shit the bed on this thing and felt that he was in a place to basically tell these people or say that this dead woman was, because she did die in the process. I believe the baby survived. But this woman did die in the process, and he called her an idiot. I thought it pretty rich that this was coming from a man who is expecting his first child, at least as of this video. As far as I know, he's still expecting his first child. I don't keep up with Matt's life that closely. I just watch a lot of his videos, or at least I used to until that video. Until this particular one I'm speaking of, I used to regularly watch Matt. And this is kind of a culmination of, a couple of things that he's done. Because, I'll get back to my train of thought here in a second. He made a video a while back basically being an apologist for a pedophile. I know a lot of people have seen this video. But he was an apologist for a female pedophile. Well, we don't know what kind of life she had. Apparently, she was abused as a kid, and I can see where, she might, have sex with an underage person. There's no fucking excuse for that shit. None. But he shit the bed on that. Now he's shitting the bed on this. I didn't comment on the previous one just because I guess I was a little dumbfounded, and plus, there was at least a couple of other people that already addressed it, and I felt, I just didn't necessarily feel the need to do so. And there have been people that have responded to this one, at least in his comments. I haven't seen any videos, but this was just, oh man, what the fuck are you thinking, Matt? Granted, I completely understand and believe that people have the right to express their thoughts publicly. And I'm not saying he doesn't have the right to think the way he does and then to share that thought with his viewing audience. But this was the biggest load of shit I've ever seen come out of that dude's mouth. The biggest load of shit. This dude has absolutely zero understanding or knowledge what thought processes went into these two parents making the decision that the mom was going to forego treatment in order to carry her child to term. She was sacrificing herself for the life of her child. For fuck's sake. Hey, maybe not the best of analogies, but here's one for you. Hey, Mom, don't jump in front of the gunman who's about to shoot your kid. Because you know what? You got 4 other kids to think about. Let that one die. Next. I am a follower of at Satan's Opinion, also known as That Girl. And she and I have had a discussion before regarding our state's bill. I can't remember. I think it was a House Bill 6, 8, whatever, here in Texas. Had something to do with women who get elective abortions paying for a funeral for that aborted fetus, and it was going to be state law. Like the state is making these women who elect to have an abortion pay for a funeral. And it wasn't just a funeral. There was other ways to deal with the fetus, or aborted child. You could either do it by having an actual funeral, but, a burial is really what it was. You didn't necessarily have to, there was nothing in the law that said you had to put this kid in a casket and bury it. You didn't have to have a ceremony per se. You could also, have the aborted child, cremated. Yeah, which, now the funeral costs in Texas are, pretty high. Cremation isn't cheap, but it is less expensive than funeral costs. And also, the bill was setting up a grant of sorts, and also some other means to help these people, or these women who get elective abortions, cover the costs. Anyway, so we had a discussion on that, and she has since unlisted the video for whatever reason, I don't know. But anywho, this time, I just, like I said, I follow her, and there was this discussion going on, and somebody had, I guess, one of her detractors had brought up this idea that homosexuality is sin. So she went on to talk about how, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go pull up the Twitter here. Actually, he said it was evil, and in the biblical context, sin is evil. So now the guy did chicken out and block her, which I thought was kind of silly. But she commented that the Bible also told a bunch of their told people a bunch of other shit that we don't follow anymore. So how is that a good excuse? Why homosexuality should be seen as a sin? Well, I kind of questioned the term "we," to which she responded that we as a majority of society. In turn, I responded that unless there's new data, that a majority of our society still identifies as Christian, and which part of the Bible are you referring? As to which part of the Bible which parts of the Bible do we no longer follow? She said that as far as the Bible goes, she stated that the Old Testament mainly, and at the very best, the parts that are explicit and aren't subject to questionable translation about homosexuality. I objected to the I don't know, maybe I didn't. I thought I had objected to the part about translation. Okay, I just personally don't think that you can use questionable translation. Well, who's questioning it? To me, the whole thing about questionable translation is an excuse for a lot of people just to say, well, we can't believe the Bible on that because we have to question the translation. Okay, well, what about the parts of the Bible that back up the questionable translation? Because then you have to argue that the whole Bible is translation. The whole Bible's translation could be questionable. Anyway, she had stated a number that a majority of Americans, 60+% support gay marriage, which tells her that the majority of our society doesn't agree with the previous tweeter. I told her she needs to, find the polls that you need to agree with your argument. I personally wouldn't trust a poll on such a highly political topic. I'll wait for a study, to which she does provide a study by Pew Research. The interesting thing about the Pew Research poll that she sent, did say that that the number of Christians there are a number of Christians who are now saying homosexuality should be accepted by society. And this is because of, Christian millennials who are actually, from what I can tell, are becoming more humanists. And humanism is just not something that Christianity really covers. Because, what I mean by that is that humanism just is not a Christian ideology, because humanism will often work in contrary to what the Bible says. And the thing is that a couple of things. First, what I had said was that she was speaking mostly to the New Testament, and I had responded to her that, well, the New Testament also recognizes homosexuality as a sin and does not recognize gay marriage. And this is where I said that translation argument doesn't hold water, because If you're going to say that particular parts of the Bible were questionably translated, you might as well say the whole thing is. And this is, I don't know, well, doesn't matter what I know about this part. From the discussion that she and I had, she had stated herself to be a Christian. And I'm sorry to tell you, if you're a Christian, you believe that the Bible is the Word of God. Okay? And you don't pick and choose which parts of the Bible you're going to believe. Now, we can get into arguments about, oh, what about eating shrimp? What about the foods you're not supposed to eat? You know, as ordained in the Bible. But the thing of it is that, oh, I didn't even realize this guy had responded. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Those parts of the Bible in the Old Testament are true. Those are law. You're not supposed to eat shrimp. You're not supposed to eat swine, so on and so forth. Now, the thing with the Old Testament, though, is that the sacrifice of Jesus Christ took out it kind of fulfilled the covenant that that Moses, or Abraham rather, had with God. It fulfilled the covenant. The only thing is that you have to believe that Jesus Christ was the Messiah and he came here and died for our sins. So basically the whole thing about not eating swine or shrimp is a legalistic aspect of Hebraic or Jewish faith that does not exist for Christians. There you have it. However, the Bible and Jesus himself said that homosexuality and gay marriage is a sin under God. Now let's talk real quick about. Well, actually, I need to finish with this article that she sent. So what I had mentioned to her was that this article does not delineate. Let me find it so I can use my own words again. The article doesn't delineate between the words acceptance or tolerance, or whether it's still considered sinful by Christians regardless of opinions of acceptance. Because, and this is the thing, the Pew Research article is just not nuanced enough, in my opinion, to discern what the differences are between those three ideas. You know, one of my political science teachers, and this is when I was at the college I was working on my bachelor's, he and I were having a discussion after class one day, and it wasn't really, I didn't really push him on this. We just started talking about some ideas that he was teaching in the class. And I can't remember exactly how we got to this point of the conversation, but basically he put forth the idea that in this day and age we have confused acceptance with tolerance. And and I had thought about that, not necessarily in those terms prior to this conversation, but it did put a finer point on that, on my own idea of where we've gone from, where acceptance and tolerance were two different ideas, and somehow they've become conflated. And back to this research, this Pew Research survey, it doesn't cover, again, whether or not Christians who think that society should accept homosexuality and gay marriage more think as to whether or not it's still a sin. Because, there are Christians who believe that government need to have less of, if no hand at all, in regulating marriage and or using the tax code when it comes to dealing with marriage. So that's great. It's great that Pew put out a survey, which, by the way, is not peer reviewed, unless somebody can prove something different to me. And nor many of the other polls. You know, she did mention that there were lots of polls and that this was just one of many. Okay. Well, again, find me one that is an in-depth study and can cover all the nuance that all these other polls do not. By the way, this was 3 hours ago. She has not responded, and I don't suspect that she will. And that's fine. No big deal. But anyway, like I said, I generally, specifically, I love that girl and what she has to say. But you know, she and I do have some differing opinions. This is only the second, though, of a couple. That was redundant. But anyway, lastly, flippin' Lacey Green. This one has stuck with me. I don't know why. Let me try to find it on my feed here. Again, it is on my feed if you want to look at any of this. Trying to find it. Jesus, it's been a while. All right. I can't find it in my Twitter feed. I know it's there. I might have just scrolled too fast and passed it right up. Oh, here we go. Okay, so back on the 20th, is today the last day of September? Oh, it's the first day of October. Hey, my birthday's in a few days. So last month, Gavin Newsom, a shit Democrat, one of the strangest of all leftists, posted about Graham Cassidy, which, you know, was supposed to be a repeal of Obamacare, and it failed again. Thank you, Republicans. Thanks for running for so many years, saying you'd get it repealed, then shitting yourselves yet again, just to oppose Trump. Graham Cassidy allows insurers not to cover pregnancy, newborn care, mental health services, prescription drugs, rehab, and birth control. I did not read Graham Cassidy. I don't know if this is true or not. But Lacey's response was the GOP wants to block access to birth control and also abortion and also pregnancy care and also newborn care. Lacey, what's the point of using commas if you're just going to use and? Okay, that's my grammar Nazi part coming out. You know, you'll learn when you write a research paper for a master's degree that you get pretty picky about this kind of shit. Anyway, Lacey, bullshit. The fact, okay, well, I'm going to go with Gavin and him being right. I'll say that what he stated was fact, okay? If in fact Graham Cassidy allows insurers not to cover these particular services, this is not a blocking of access. The fact that the government doesn't want to pay for your shit anymore doesn't mean you can't get it. You just need to do something about being responsible for yourself and paying for it out of your own fucking pocket. Jesus Christ, Lacey. This is where your feminism just freaking wrecks your damn brain and your ability to logic properly. Oh my gosh. I'm getting pissed just reading this again. Excuse me. Lacey, I think the government should say that you need to pay for my ice cream bars because I'm broke, because I'm in college. You need to pay for my ice cream bars. Holy shit. Better yet, here's one. Lacey, I think your tax dollars should pay for my freaking insulin shots. I mean, it's not your fault that I'm diabetic. It's not your fault I didn't take better care of myself before I came down with I came down with diabetes. It's not your fault, but damn it, you should pay for it. Your tax dollars should pay for my insulin. I swear this woman doesn't get it. You know, and it still pisses me off at the fact that many YouTube, well, maybe not many, that a couple or few YouTube content creators that I respect still went and apologized to this dumb woman when they were at VidCon. And not one of them, no one, has pushed this lady on the bullshit she said on election night. I'm still pissed about that. You know, she's managed to make people feel bad for using some mean words on her, about her. And she has yet to apologize for being a racist, sexist twat. Jesus. I'm not saying Lacey is a twat. I'm just saying she's a twat on those particular issues. I've said before, I'm sure Lacey's a nice person. But fuck she if she doesn't get a mean streak. And this is mean. I'm sorry, a lot of people may not think that what she said on this particular issue, the GOP wants to block access to birth control, abortion, pregnancy care, and newborn care. That is something mean. This is because it's bullshit. It's utter bullshit. And here's the other end of it that she doesn't realize. Because, you know, again, assuming that Gavin Newsom's correct about Graham Cassidy, allowing insurers not to cover it does not mean that insurers are not going to cover those things. There may be some, but it's definitely not going to be an all situation. What this will do, if anything, is spur competition between insurers to get people to take their insurance because their insurance coverage does provide these services. Fucking A. Anyway, that's all I got for you folks. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm sorry it's been a while. I hope you'll stick with me, and hopefully we'll find some more time to get back at you. Before I go, I do want to let you know that I will be live streaming later on at about 8 p.m. Central Time, and I will be streaming with the lovely, wonderful, and fellow Texan Chagrin Ann Barrett. Check her channel out. I will try to remember to put her channel in the description field. And hopefully we'll get a couple of other guests to come in. Thank you so much. You can also follow me on Discord. You can search my server using my name. You can find me using my username. Again, that's Who Flung Poo. I'm also on VidMe, SoundCloud, and something else. Oh, I'm also on Minds and Gab.ai. Again, just search my username as usual. I'll be honest with you, I don't keep up with those as well as I do with Twitter and YouTube. And I should, and maybe someday I might be able to. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate, for those of you who have stuck with me, I appreciate your patience and not going away. And again, just know that this is a really busy time in my life, and I really have to just find the spaces in order to make videos. And today it was more a matter of willing myself to do a video. Again, I appreciate you guys coming by and watching. Thank you so much. Dingleberries, I'm out.